Greetings Terrarians, Khaios here. I get a lot of comments on my channel asking what tools, mods, and resources I use for building within Terraria, and I wanted to create a build tip video focusing on the tools of the trade to answer some of those questions. So, if these kinds of beginner videos are something that interests you, be sure to let me know by leaving a like, a comment, and subscribing to the channel. So first off, I wanted to talk about actual items that I use within the game for my builds, starting with tools. These are going to be items that you can use for building, but you can't necessarily equip, and many of them are pretty obvious, so let's get those out of the way quickly. So obviously you're going to be needing a pickaxe. Choose whatever fits best for you. In my opinion, the faster and stronger the pickaxe is, the better. I try to avoid using drills because I find the sound distracting, but you can use them if you like. Then there are also axes and hammers. I almost always carry a hamaxe to combine the two and to save inventory space. As many of you have noticed in the comments section, I actually do carry around two hammers. I carry around the Vortex hamaxe for chopping down trees or for clearing out large areas of walls rapidly, but the fact of the matter is that that hammer swings so fast that it's really difficult for me to build with. If I'm trying to remove just a single wall, it's almost impossible to do with that hammer because it swings so quickly. Also, when I'm shaping blocks, which I do a lot within my builds, fast hammers often break walls behind the block. It's for this reason that I primarily save the Vortex hamaxe just for large-scale clearing. My go-to hammer for most things building is actually the Pwn hammer. There are two different speeds to take into consideration whenever you swing a hammer, and that's how fast it can shape a block and how fast it can break a wall. While a faster hammer can allow you to shape a block as quickly as you can click, it also has a high chance of breaking the wall behind the block when you do it. Slow hammers make it safe to shape blocks without accidentally removing walls, but they reduce the speed at which you can hammer tiles. For this reason, I experimented around and tried to find a hammer that feels like a good balance between the two speeds for me. Not so fast that it breaks walls when I don't want to, but not so slow that it makes block shaping an arduous task. That turned out to be the Pwn hammer. If you run into the issue of removing walls when you don't want to, I recommend experimenting with slower hammers to find a good speed balance for you. Another mining tool to keep in your back pocket is the Drill Containment Unit, a mount which rapidly mines blocks and trees. It's perfect for clearing out large areas or quickly shaping terrain. Keep in mind that if you're using the mount to slope a terrain and you're on a multiplayer server, the block slopes will not actually be registered on the server, just locally, so whenever you log out and log back in, nothing will have been sloped. This is not the case, however, for single player, so you can use it to slope blocks. Next up are paintbrushes and scrapers. Unless you're doing a playthrough and you haven't obtained ectoplasm yet, there really is no reason not to default to the Spectre paint tools as they extend how far away you can paint. Additional helpful tools are things like the cell phone for a quick recall and for keeping track of the time, the Rod of Discord for teleporting around the build, just make sure you watch your health, and the Ice Rod, which will allow you to place blocks in mid-air, aiding you greatly in building above the ground. If you're doing any wiring work, you'll want to carry around a Pressurator, the Actuation Rod, and the Grand Design. The Pressurator will allow you to automatically place actuators whenever you place a block. While this is technically an accessory and it can be equipped, you do not need to equip it to gain its effect, and all you need to do is carry it around in your inventory. The Actuation Rod will allow you to actuate any block that has an actuator on it without the need of switches and wires, and it's even faster if you turn on Smart Cursor when you use it. The Grand Design is an amazing way to quickly place and remove wires and actuators, but it also comes with a toggleable ruler to help you measure distances. You can also opt to carry around a summoning weapon to help protect you as you build. Obviously, if you're progressing through a playthrough, use whatever is available to you, but if you're just free building, I recommend using anything that can travel through blocks to attack enemies, such as the Stardust Dragon. Assuming you're not using any building mods, another thing that you might want to do to drastically increase your inventory size is to carry around a money trough, a safe, and a defender's forge. These 3 items are going to add a total of 117 additional inventory slots for you to use, which can be incredibly helpful in building. Furthermore, to save space on your active inventory, you can store the safe and the defender's forge within the money trough and just bring them out as you need to use them. I also keep an enchanted sundial within the trough in case I need to quickly fast forward time through a blood moon or something of that sort. So now that we got tools out of the way, what about equipment? There are a lot of building accessories and all of them seem really great to use, but it is important to know that many of them do not stack their effects with each other, so there is no need to wear all of them. The toolbox will increase the range that you can place blocks, as well as the reach of your building tools by 1 tile, which is very useful. Oddly enough, it also increases the distance that your character can interact with items such as levers by 1 space. The tool belt will increase the distance that you can place blocks by 1, which is also very useful for building. And probably the most useful building accessory is the Architect Gizmo Pack, which combines the bricklayer, portable cement mixer, extendo grip, and paint sprayer into one extremely useful bundle. Equipping this will not only increase the speed at which you place walls and tiles, but it will also extend the reach of your tools and block placement by a whopping 3 tiles each, and it will also allow you to automatically paint blocks as you place them. The auto paint feature can be toggled on and off by using the radio button that appears on the left hand side of your screen whenever the accessory is equipped. Paint is always chosen from the left to the right, then the top to the bottom. What that means is, if I have paint spread all around my inventory, it will automatically paint with whatever paint is in the highest row at the far left. All other paints will be completely ignored. To simplify this for me, I place all of my paints on 1 or 2 rows and just shuffle them around so that the paint that I want to currently use is in the upper left-hand corner. Since the Architect Gizmo Pack combines 4 different accessories, you cannot stack the effects of those other accessories with it. That means equipping an additional bricklayer will not increase your speed any further, nor will adding an extra extendo grip increase your range, which is actually something I only just recently discovered. Equipping the Architect Gizmo Pack, the toolbox, and the tool belt will leave you with 2 open accessory slots, or 3 if you're playing in expert mode, and you can fill these with whatever you want. My go-to recommendations will be wings for obvious reasons, and an Ankh shield, or at least a cobalt shield, because nothing is more annoying during building than a stray slime knocking you back and making you misplace blocks. So that covers in-game items, but what about external resources? Well, one of the biggest assets a builder can use, especially for anyone that's relatively new to building in Terraria, is a block and wall palette. These are compiled images of all the blocks and all the walls within Terraria, where you can easily see what everything looks like, giving you a better idea of what you might want to use within your build. Some of them also include furniture, and some of them go an extra mile by showing you what everything looks like when it's painted, or they even organize them for you by appearance. CheesyPaninie, who some of you may recognize from older videos on this channel, recently published such a palette on her website. While the palette is still a work in progress and it's currently missing walls, she does an excellent job of listing and organizing the blocks, as well as showing you what they look like with every paint on them. You could also find other palettes in places like Reddit, Imgur, or even some basic ones on the Terraria wiki. I'll leave links in the description to these palettes. Other handy tools outside of Terraria come in the form of mods and software. If you've been a part of my channel long enough, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of T-Edit, which is an external program that essentially acts like Photoshop for Terraria. As I've already done a few older tutorials on it, I'm not going to go too much into detail on that right now. In terms of mods, I will be the first to admit that I don't have a ton of experience within that realm of Terraria. I don't have any experience with content mods yet, though I will be looking into them soon. I do use a few mods, however, to help me out with building. The biggest one that I use would be Cheat Sheet, which allows me to gain any item that I need. It can also copy and paste segments of builds, and it can do a lot more. I also use Max Stack Plus, which is how I'm able to stack all of these materials up to 9,999. Extensible Inventory is another mod that I use that gives me extra inventory spaces. And the last mod that I use primarily is No Mobs and No Time. And that will prevent mob spawning while keeping all of my builds at noon, so it makes videos easier for you all to see. All of these mods are found within Team Mod Loader. So I pose a question to all of you. What content mods would you recommend that I look into first when I start diving into that part of Terraria? Let me know in the comments. And that wraps up the Tools of the Trade guide. I hope you found it all useful. Was there anything that I left out? Do you use anything different yourself? Let me know if you would like to see more basic tutorials like this one, or if I should keep things more complicated. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and a comment, and I would greatly appreciate it if you considered subscribing to the channel as well. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll catch you all later. Happy building!